We are going to do our big class Bible drills, and we're going to start with books of the Bible. So how many books are in the Bible? 66. How many books are in the Old Testament? 39. How many books are in the New Testament? 27. Okay, who thinks they can name them? Let's do the Old Testament first. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Good job. Let's do our New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, 1st and 2nd, 3rd John, Jude, and Revelation. Good job. What are these 5 things God told Moses to go to Egypt to tell Pharaoh to let my people go? Did Pharaoh let God's people go? No. So how many plagues did God send? 10. Okay, let's name them. The water turned to blood, the frogs, the lice, the flies, the cattle died, the boils, the hail, the locusts, the darkness, and the firstborn died. Now we're going to do our 12 sons of Jacob, or our 12 tribes of Israel. The first one is the one that sounds like a sandwich, as Miss Emily would say. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, and Joseph. Good job. Which tribe was the smallest tribe? Benjamin. Which tribe did the priests come from? Levi. And which tribe did Jesus come from? Judah. Now we're going to do our 12 apostles. Peter, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Thomas, Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot. Which one of the 12 betrayed Jesus? Judas Iscariot. How did he betray Jesus? He kissed him on the cheek. Now, is it bad to kiss someone on the cheek? No. Why was it bad when Judas did it? Because it told the Roman soldiers who Jesus was. And what did the Roman soldiers do to Jesus? They crucified him.
The first song is Christian Light. Sadie, show them where your Christian light is. Okay, everybody get your Christian light. Here we go. This little Christian light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little Christian light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little Christian light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine. Don't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no. I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, neighborhood. I'm gonna let it shine all the time, let it shine. Okay, our next song is His Banner Over Me is Love. Okay, so here we go. The Lord is mine and I am his. His banner over me is love. The Lord is mine and I am his. His banner over me is love. The Lord is mine and I am his. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. He brought me to his banqueting table. His banner over me is love. He brought me to his banqueting table. His banner over me is love. He brought me to his banqueting table. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. He lifted me up into heavenly places. His banner over me is love. He lifted me up into heavenly places. His banner over me is love. He lifted me up into heavenly places. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. He is the vine and we are the branches. His banner over me is love. He is the vine and we are the branches. His banner over me is love. He is the vine and we are the branches. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. Jesus is the rock of my salvation. His banner over me is love. Jesus is the rock of my salvation. His banner over me is love. Jesus is the rock of my salvation. His banner over me is love. His banner over me is love. Now our last song is about Samuel. And so we've been talking about superheroes of the Bible. Say, do you remember those superheroes? We talked about Abraham, and he was a man of faith. We talked about Moses. He was God's chosen leader. We talked about Joshua last week. He was a soldier of God, and he followed God's directions. And today we're going to talk about Samuel, and he was dedicated to God. Now, just to give you a little bit of a hint of the story today, because I don't want to ruin it for you, I want you to listen to Miss Emily. Samuel, as a little boy, went to live at the temple with the priest Eli. And one night, Samuel thought that Eli was talking to him, but actually it was the Lord. And so that's what where this song comes from, about Samuel. So here's this one. There was a boy named Samuel, he was asleep in bed. There was a boy named Samuel, he did what Eli said. Samuel, oh Samuel,
here I am, Eli.
I did not call you, go back to bed. Samuel, oh Samuel,
here I am, Eli.
I did not call you, go back to bed. Samuel, oh Samuel,
here I am, Eli.
I did not call you, it must be the Lord. If it happens once again, here's what you must say.
Here I am, Lord.
There was a boy named Samuel, he was asleep in bed. There was a boy named Samuel, he did what Eli said. Samuel, oh Samuel,
here I am, Lord.
Very good. Okay. See you next time. Bye.
Hi guys, this is Emily. So today we're going to get to talk about another one of our Old Testament heroes. Today's lesson is the story of Samuel. Well, Samuel's kind of a strange story. He did all the things that God wanted him to do, but he had kind of a hard start in life. So let's learn about Samuel. Today's lesson is dedicated to God. So dedicated means that you give everything you've got to something. So Samuel dedicated his life to God. First of all, his mother helped him to do that, and then Samuel dedicated his life when he got big. But before we can talk about Samuel, we have to talk about Hannah. Hannah was married to a man named Elkanah. And Hannah and Elkanah, they loved each other. They were very happy. But Hannah was so sad. Can you think why Hannah would be sad? She and Elkanah were not able to have babies. She wanted a baby so bad. Aren't they cute when you have babies? They're so sweet, so little. And Hannah wanted one so bad. So she would go to the temple and she would pray to God. Beg and plead and pray. One day, Hannah was at the temple praying, and she was praying so hard. She had her eyes closed and she was speaking to God, but she couldn't hear anything because she was talking in her heart, but her lips were moving. Have you ever seen anybody that was like mouthing that she was talking, but you couldn't hear anything she was saying because she was so deep in conversation in her prayers to the Lord? But if you look there behind you, there is the priest. Now the priest, his name was Eli. And Eli, he watched Hannah. He saw her there. She was pouring her heart out and she was talking without speaking. So do you think that Eli thought that Hannah was doing good? This is kind of embarrassing. The priest actually thought that Hannah was drunk. She was so deep in thought and discussion with God. Eli hollered at her and said, "Put your wine away." Now, don't you know that embarrassed Hannah? Don't you think Hannah was embarrassed to find out that the priest thought she was drinking? But Hannah went over to the priest Eli and she said, "Oh, Eli, I haven't been drinking." She said, "I have poured my soul out to the Lord." Now, pouring your soul out to the Lord means just she was praying so hard and giving it everything she had. And he said, "Well, what is it that you're asking of the Lord?" And so what was it that Hannah wanted more than anything in the whole wide world? That's right. She wanted a baby boy. In fact, when she was praying to God, she said, "God, if you'll give me a baby boy, I promise I will give him back to you." What a big thing to say. Do you think that would be easy to give your baby back to the Lord? I don't even know if I understand what that means, so we're going to keep talking. When Eli heard what Hannah's wish was, do you know what he told her? He was impressed. He said, "Go in peace. The Lord will grant your petition." That means you can go on and be confident that God is going to grant your wish. So do you think that God did what Eli said? He sure did. In just a little while, Hannah gave birth to a baby boy, and she named him Samuel. Now, Samuel was a very special baby. Hannah loved him more than anybody in the whole wide world. She played with that baby, and she took good care of that baby, and she talked about God with that baby. But she never, ever forgot the promise that she made to God. And what was the promise that she made to God regarding a baby boy? That's right. She promised that if she could have a baby boy, she would give him back to the Lord. So when Samuel became old enough, and I'm not 100% sure how old that was, but probably old enough, not old enough to be all by himself, okay? So when he was big enough, she took him back to the temple. And remember who lived at the temple? The priest, and his name was Eli. So Hannah took Samuel to live with Eli. That way he could learn all the ways of the Lord. He could work and do good for God, just like she promised. She dedicated Samuel to the Lord. So do you think that Hannah just went home and never thought about her baby boy anymore? I bet she thought about him every single night because she loved him so much. But while he was away, he worked in the temple with Eli. Eli taught him, he studied all of the things of the law. But every year, Hannah would make him a brand new robe and come back and see him at the temple. A bigger one for each year to fit him as he was getting bigger. So Samuel grew, and his mama would come every year. Can you imagine just seeing your mama one time a year? But was Samuel sorry? Or was Hannah sorry? No, because they were fulfilling a promise that Hannah had made to the Lord. Now here's where the story gets fun. One night, Eli was in his room asleep, and Samuel was in his room asleep, and he heard, Samuel, Samuel. So Samuel got up and went into Eli's room, and he said, yes, Eli, did you call me? And Eli said, no, boy, go back to bed. You're bothering me. So Eli goes back to bed. Here he is again, Samuel, Samuel. So he goes back into Eli's room. On the third time of this happening, Eli said, Samuel, I think the Lord is trying to talk to you. Now, do you think that Samuel loved Eli? Absolutely, he did. He spent all his time with Eli. So he and Eli grew to love each other. So Eli told Samuel, go back to bed. If you hear a voice call your name again, I want you to say, speak, Lord, for your servant hears. So that's exactly what Samuel did. He went back to his room, and guess what happened? The Lord called again, Samuel, Samuel. But this time, Samuel got up and he said, speak, Lord, for your servant hears. Well, the Lord spoke to Samuel. Don't you know this was an exciting thing for Samuel? But do you know what the Lord was telling Samuel was not very exciting? He was telling him that Eli, the priest, had 2 sons, and that those boys were being bad. They were not doing the things that the Lord wanted them to do. And so the Lord told Samuel that if these boys don't straighten up their ways, really bad things are going to happen. So the next morning, I'm going to go back. So the next morning, Eli went in to talk to Samuel and asked him, did the Lord talk to you? Did the Lord speak? But Samuel was afraid because he didn't want to hurt Eli's feelings. He was afraid to tell him that the Lord was upset with his sons. But he did because he knew not to tell a lie. So he told Eli that the Lord was upset with his sons and that they were bad. But guess what? Eli didn't do anything about it. Eli should have straightened his boys out. He should have made them do different, but he didn't. He didn't do anything about it. So does that make God happy when we do bad things and we don't ever correct it? No. So sure enough, bad things happened to the family of Eli. In fact, the Bible tells a story about Eli. When he was old, he was sitting on a chair and he fell out of the chair and he broke his neck and died. That's one of those weird stories in the Bible, but that's just a terrible way to die. But that is because he didn't do what God asked him to do. Now, what about Samuel, though? Samuel grew on to be a great hero of the Bible. Samuel went on to be a judge, which means he was responsible for making decisions for the people. He was a prophet. The prophet of God could tell what God wanted. He could speak to the people on behalf of the Lord. And he also became a priest. Now, any one of these things are great things to be, but Samuel grew up to be all 3. Now, do you think that was because he did just whatever he wanted? No, that's because he did the things that God asked him to do. He was a good person, okay? So what we want to make sure is that we dedicate ourselves to the Lord, because we have to all love God and work hard for God every single day. We should strive to be a hard worker for God, just like Samuel. Bye, guys.
Hi, kids. Hey, Sammy. Sammy, where are you?
I'm down here. I cannot come up. I'm too embarrassed.
Embarrassed? Come on, Sammy. The kids in the audience are waiting for you.
No, I do not want to come up. Everyone will laugh.
Sammy, you gotta come up. All these little boys and girls at home want to see your beautiful face.
Oh, okay.
Sammy, what are you doing with that bag over your head?
I don't want anyone to see me because I look funny today.
Sammy, you look funny now with a bag over your head. You came and see the kids with that bag over your head.
Oh, all right. Just a minute. I'll be right back. Oh, okay. I'm ready now.
Sammy, stop being silly. Take that bag off.
Oh, okay. I'll be right back again. Okay, here I come. But now everybody is really going to laugh at me.
Sammy, what are you doing with flour on your head?
It happened because I did not listen to my mom.
Hey, Rachel. Sammy, next time your mom tells you not to take a bath in flour, you better not.
That's not funny, Simon. No, I wanted to help her make cookies. The flour was in a big bowl. So she went to get something else and told me not to touch it. But I wanted to stir it, and I didn't wait. Then I slipped, and the bowl landed on my head.
Uh-oh. Boy, that must have been a great big mess. Your mom must have been pretty mad when she came back.
She was kind of mad. I felt really bad, but I told her how sorry I was.
Yeah, you must have felt very bad about it. You must have looked just like a snowman. Then what did your mom do?
She said she knew I was sorry and she didn't stay mad, but because I didn't listen, I had to help clean up the mess and then go to my room for a while, and because all the flour fell on the floor, there wasn't any left to make cookies.
Well, it didn't all go on the floor. You still have a lot on your head. Boy, that's too bad. Your mom makes really good cookies too. That must make you feel real sad.
Yeah, I sure like to eat the cookies my mom makes, but mostly I feel bad because I made my mom feel sad because I didn't obey her, and because I didn't obey my mom, I was disobeying God too.
That's right, Sammy. When we do something wrong, we not only make our parents and other people sad, but we disappoint God too.
I feel bad whenever I do something wrong.
You're not the only one who does, Sammy. In the Bible, it tells us in Romans 3:23 that all have sinned. When we do, we have to be sorry about it and ask God for forgiveness.
You know, I felt bad the other day when my dad told me to pick up all my toys and I did not. I told God and my dad that I was sorry, and then I felt better. If we think about Jesus, about what he did, then we won't want to disobey or act bad.
This all reminds me of the story of the Garden of Eden. God told Adam and Eve not to eat the apples from that tree, but they didn't listen.
Yeah, Sammy, they thought they knew better than God, but God always knows what's best. Your mom knew what was best too when she told you not to touch the flour. Well, I have to go now. Bye.
Bye, Rachel. And because I didn't listen, I got flour all over. I had to go to my room and we couldn't make any cookies. Hey, my nose is starting to itch real bad.
Maybe you got some flour up your nose.
Yeah, achoo!
That was a big sneeze. It blew Sammy right off the stage. Hey, Sammy, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Boy, I did get some of that flour up my nose.
That was sure a big sneeze.
Yeah, I'm a big sneezer. I always,
Oh no, do not sneeze again.
I can't help it.
Look out, here she goes again.
Achoo!
Sammy, come on back up here and quit sneezing.
I can't help it, Simon.
Well, if you keep sneezing, you might blow our stage away.
I don't think I can sneeze that hard.
Oh no, not again. Look out, kids. Cover up. Here she goes again. Hey, you stopped.
Yeah, I guess all the flour is gone, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Boy, I'm glad that's over.
Achoo!
Ah! You scared me. Quit it.
I can't help it, Simon. It's the flour.
Don't sneeze on the kids anyway. You might blow them over.
I think I'm done now. Oh, maybe not.
Sammy, no, not at the kids. Sammy, no, not at me. Stop, stop.